everybody. Welcome. It's Tuesday because it's TransWorld Tuesday, and welcome to TransWorld Live.
I can't believe we're here.
Oh my gosh. We made it. We made it. How was your October?
Well,
we survived.
I survived, right? That's the biggest one.
Very awesome. Very awesome. We heard there were plenty of rain opportunities, plenty of just wonderful opportunities for your crew to shine. You guys are dry now. Was it a success?
It was a success. It was a great season. Every year I'm like, oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. You know what? This one was definitely one of the top 5 for sure. Like it's going to go down in history. We actually had our cast party last weekend. It's a great cast.
That's awesome. I think that's one of my favorite post-Halloween or Halloween haunted house season stuff is when everybody posts all of their crew photos and you just get to see these amazing people that have been living and breathing in the trenches, for the last 2 months.
Well, and I think that it's a good time to reflect, right? And a good time to look at everything and be like, okay, we really did a great job.
Oh, very much so. Very, very much so. Sean, we're glad you're here. It is TransWorld Tuesday. Of course, please let us know you're here. Sound off in the chat. Hopefully, you guys got a chance to see. We weren't with you live because we did celebrate our favorite holiday, but hopefully you enjoyed our fun little video to help entertain you.
I had fun making it.
No, it was fun. That was really a lot of fun. Well, we have a ton to cover tonight and super excited to just jump right in because there's a lot going on. Today's a pretty big day. So let's just jump in. What do you think?
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right. Our very first guests, you know them well, and we're so excited to have them here on our show because it's their show. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jenny Thaler and Rich Bianco. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome, guys.
Sorry.
How we doing? Are we excited for Boston?
Yes, we are. Rich. We're very sorry. My dog just hold on.
No,
that's okay. No problem.
We love our pets.
We are live.
Yes, live time. Things happen.
Proof that it's live.
Proof that it's live. Exactly.
Recorded. Okay.
Oh. So how was your Halloween season? How did you guys do?
It was great. I mean, we had a great time. We got a chance to tour a bunch of different haunted houses. The weather in Chicago, I think, fortunately, was a lot better than it was in different parts of the country. And Chris, you know that because you got a chance to tour a bunch of places.
Couldn't agree. I think the Chicago haunts got a good break this year. So, but our apologies to the Eastern folks that sustained a lot of rain.
Yeah.
So hopefully it was positive for you. We've got all kinds of stuff. We know Legendary is around the corner, but we've got some breaking news, and you guys wanted to bring it to us. We know we're 121 days away, but TransWorld is really right around the corner.
Yes.
What do we got brewing?
So finally, we've been getting a lot of questions about it, a lot of emails. Registration is open for this year's TransWorld. So I'm very excited about that. That was just a labor of love this year. We, as you know, as the show continues to grow, we've been making changes. And this year we went with, a registration company that we really thought would fit our needs. And it's taken a little bit longer. Typically registration, we have open late August, beginning of September. But this time, it just opened last week. And we did a soft open. We just wanted to make sure that we got all of the kinks out of things before we announced registration was going to be open. And we've got a bunch of different packages that we've never had before.
It's wild. Some of our viewers have actually already been commenting that they're used to the 1 tier and then in the previous years 2 tier, but now there's 4 different levels of registration packages.
Yes. So we created that, before COVID. I would say probably in 2019, I was starting to get a lot of pressure from buyers that really wanted they needed more time on the show floor. They felt like they weren't getting it as the show continued to grow and get larger. Some of them were having less and less time with the exhibitor. So the show typically opens at 10 o'clock. That's traditionally what the hours have been, 10 to 5. This year, we changed things around a little bit. We have what's called the Premier Pass. And that pass, where the show is going to open an hour earlier. So instead of it opening at 10, if you buy the Premier Pass, the show will open at 9 o'clock for you. And the general admission pass will then open at 11 o'clock. These particular hours are only on Thursday and Friday. Saturday and Sunday will be the traditional hours that we've always had from 10 to 5 each day. Oh, sorry. Sunday is only 10 to 2.
Love it. Love it. I'm just kind of looking. Thank you, Robert, because he's sharing it right now. So you could still get the general admission pass.
Yes.
That's $99. It gets you into all 3 shows for 4 days. But as you were just referencing, the Premier Access Pass, it's $199. Still all 3 shows, still all 4 days, but early access on Thursday and Friday.
Right. And, I know there could be a lot of questions with it. I mean, when you click on the view details buttons, it'll go into further explanation. But feel free to call Rich and I, because we're here to help and make sure that whatever package is going to work best for you, we're here to walk through that with you, because we know that there is changes this year, and with changes always come questions and some confusion. So we're just here to simplify it and make it easier for you guys.
Very nice. Very nice. Now we have a package above that called the VIP Premier Pass. Tell us a little bit about this.
So years ago, well, we've always had what's an unlimited seminar pass. So what that did is for people that didn't want ahead of time to have to pick their seminars, they were able to just, go into any class they want. With that being said, you can't just keep walking in and out of classes. The goal would be that you get 1 class an hour, but you don't have to pick your seminars ahead of time. It is combined with the VIP pass. So the VIP has a lot of offerings in itself. I'm not going to read through it right now for you guys, but you're happy to check it out. So it's a combination. It's the best value. So you get the VIP plus all the unlimited seminars.
Yes, Chris, and what I guess what you were asking is there are 2 different passes. The VIP Premier is just a standard VIP pass that gets you the early access, the VIP booth, and all the other stuff that comes with that. There's a bunch of things that are added on there, and then there's the VIP Premier with the unlimited seminar pass, is what it is. So the unlimited seminar pass will include all the seminars that we have on there. There's like 1 or 2 things excluded, but it's pretty much something that someone can buy if they just want to be able to walk in and out of seminars, get into the show early, have the VIP booth, pretty much everything included with the exception of events in the evening. That stuff is not included. Those are all a la carte. So, there's basically 4 different passes this year. The standard one that most people are used to getting. And then we have the Premier Access, which is similar to the standard one, with the exception of you getting in the 2 hours early on Thursday and Friday, which allows you to shop, before the masses get in there. Then the VIP Premier Pass, which is, the VIP Pass, which includes the early access and all the stuff that comes with the VIP. And then the VIP Premier with the unlimited seminar pass, which includes all the seminars. So those are the 4 different packages. You can go on the website and read what each one of them includes. But basically, it's if you want to get in early, we had a lot of requests from a lot of different buyers asking if there was a way to get on the floor before, the masses got in there, and we didn't have any other way to figure out how to credential people and decide who gets on early, who doesn't get on early. And a bunch of people actually suggested to us, why don't we create a different pass that pretty much will govern itself, just create a different price. People, if they want to get in early, they'll pay that price, and then that'll kind of, govern who wants to get in early, who doesn't. It wasn't something that we could figure out on our own, and the suggestions came from a bunch of people in the industry, which worked out well.
Very nice.
Yeah, we're already hearing in the comments that people like that option.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It seems that way too. When we did a soft open the other day, the number of people that bought the Premier right away out of the gate. So it definitely seems like there was a need for it.
And so people know, like some people look at it and say, well, I'm losing 2 hours on the floor. You're really not. Last year, the show opened at 10. We moved it up to open at 9 is what we did. And it's only 2 days. So in reality, you're losing 2 hours out of 4 days. So, on the standard pass and then the Premier pass, you're gaining 4 hours because you're getting to go in at 9 o'clock, that 9 to 11 hours when, the general admission tickets will not be able to enter the floor. So it's not a big change from the general admission. You're still getting just about the same amount of hours that you were on the floor, with the exception of those first 2 days. And then, so this just, created an opportunity for people to be able to get in there early if they wanted to.
Nice. And there's also a question about special access for anyone that has the VIP passes. You'll be able to enter the floor through a special door, right?
Yes,
that's correct. Yeah,
there'll be special lines for VIP, and there'll be special lines for Premier as well. Anne Marie was supposed to be on tonight. Unfortunately, she has a really bad migraine, and she was going to kind of explain how registration was going to lay out. She'll be on another episode to kind of do the walkthrough of all that for you guys to better explain that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know you guys have put a ton of work into this. Thanks to Robert. He is posting the link into the chat, haashow.com, and check out everything right in front of your very eyes, which is beyond exciting. We can't wait to get there. Can we start talking about what the floor might look like?
Yeah. Tell us any details you got.
Sure. So, it's interesting because I feel like we say this every year. The show's bigger than it's ever been. It's going to be bigger this year, but it's the craziest thing. I've never seen anything like what's happening this year. And I'll tell you, just to prove that fact, take a look at what's happening with Legendary. We pretty much almost doubled the size of what any Legendary's ever been. It's not quite double, but it's close to being double. And we actually had to shut it off. And I swear we had another 50 callers today trying to buy tickets, because most people wait till the last minute to buy their tickets, which make it, you guys, most people that come, run events, you understand it, ordering food and ordering buses and things like that have to be done in advance. And, we just didn't have any ability to add any more at this point. So, there's going to be a solid 400 on this tour, which we've never seen before. We're very excited about it.
I was going to ask, is this the biggest Legendary yet?
Yes. Probably, Rich is right. It probably could have been 450 probably today if I would have said yes, but we just couldn't. So it really is the biggest Legendary haunt tour that we've ever had, and the level of excitement about it just seems overwhelming. We're so excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That kind of leads into what's happening with TransWorld. I've never seen anything like it. So, most people that have been there for years, how we have the interactive area, and then towards the back of that, we have a lot of inflatable companies and things like that. Mm-hmm. And some larger booths where we bring in different things like amusement rides, things like that. A lot of that space had to be broken up because we just didn't have enough space for vendors. A lot of our smaller vendors, and that's what we kind of cater to. We like to bring in a lot of companies that are, offering new things for our our buyers at TransWorld, and that portion of the show has exploded. Like, we've literally had to slide over the interactive area a little bit, and some of that area, you're going to notice last year you've seen a lot of like 20 by 30, 20 by 40s, 40 by 40 booths. They're all broken up now into 10 by 10s, like the rest of the show. So don't just think you're going to walk, aisles, 100 all the way to like 1,500 is usually like the busy part of the show.
Yeah.
We're way into the 2000s now with booths. I don't have a single booth inside the 2,100 aisle as of today. So,
that's awesome.
Mostly, 10 by 10s, 10 by 20s, if there is a customer that bought 6 or 8 booths, yes, they're in that area, but it's not standard like bulk space where you have one giant item like a Christmas tree and 8 booths. It's not like that at all. So you're going to see a lot of new companies in there. What I will tell you is, if you're thinking about exhibiting, you need to get your stuff in.
I was just going to ask, is this like the note to exhibitors to say like, hey, if you're thinking about, do not wait. I can tell you, I got a call from Rich this week that was like, hey, are you exhibiting? Because like, I need to know, because if not, I'm selling your space.
No, he took our booths away from us for TransWorld Live. He's
yeah.
I went on the floor and I'm like, where? He's like, I needed your space. Sorry.
If you're looking for my booth, it's shrunk.
Well, breaking news.
It may move again. It's based on, we got to cater to the customer.
Very much. Very much.
The back of the bus.
Yeah.
In a day, we can put that booth out in the lobby if we have to. But
I was just gonna say we're gonna be like right outside the show office. We're
That's
gonna be like, hey guys.
or mind the VIP.
No,
booth or
because
something.
I was
don't
trying
know.
to lay it out today, and I'm like, I don't see it on the floor. Rich is like, because it's not there right now. We took it away. Obviously, we use that booth to promote East Coast and all the other shows.
Sure.
He's taking that away from me right now.
We'll get it figured out. But if you are thinking about exhibiting, you really need to get your stuff in. If you're a company that hasn't got it in and you were here last year, you should get it in right away. Like I'm literally running out of places to put people. And, we've never been in that situation where it's getting that tough, like where it's getting so tight. So the cool thing is you will see a lot of new vendors. I've never seen a show where we've had so many new vendors to see. So, if you have the time, get out to the show this year. There's a lot of good people you can support and I get it.
Guys, I'm getting chills. Like this is really exciting news. Plus, I want to know.
It's hard
there's
to
3 of our vendors.
It's the truth. Like it
Now,
really is.
to be honest, usually our selling season starts right after Halloween, like where we really start promoting new vendors. I mean, our regulars are already mostly signed up by now, but I've been getting calls and texts and emails I get texts from people I don't even know them, and they're like, they text me asking for booth space. It's been pretty wild, and like we're looking forward to it. I start traveling this weekend for Legendary, and from there I just travel a lot doing shows and stuff for promoting our show and getting booths and things like that,
and getting new buyers,
meeting companies and getting new buyers and stuff. So this is the season where I do a lot of traveling, and I haven't even begun to start that, and it's literally
and it's already you're like, well, I've got 4 left.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know what we're gonna have. So like Robert will probably put some posts up on Facebook, to remind people. But if you're somebody that's been busy building your haunt or tearing it down or working on your Christmas event, or your escape rooms, whatever, now's the time to get your paperwork in or contact me so we can get you a booth.
especially if you're on the fence. Don't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and Jennifer brings up a huge note that I'm sure there's going to be a lot of new buyers this year.
There will be.
I think now more than ever, especially this past year, just like mentioning it to certain people or even, fellow haunters, they're like, oh my God, I've been dying to go to TransWorld. This is my year. I'm like, ooh, well, you better get your hotel room because there's not going to be a lot.
And that's the other thing too. Please get your hotel room. If you have not gotten it yet, get it. Like you're not going to be able to call me and be like, hey, Jen,
got nowhere to.
I have nothing to get from. So please,
No room in the inn.
So what I'm hearing is TransWorld 2024. TransWorld Live will be at table 3 from the exit row in the concession area.
He's going to put us by the concession
Next to the turkey legs.
Yeah, the show office is now the communal family bathroom, and everybody's going to be sleeping on the street.
It's insane.
Yeah, and speaking of hotel rooms, make sure we never contact anybody by phone and we generally don't send out emails about booking your hotels. We do that just as reminders occasionally. There's a lot of, if you're in the trade show business or you've ever attended a trade show, you get tons of emails from these scammers that are basically trying to sell attendee lists and try to get you to book hotel rooms. We don't know where your credit card information is going if you're talking with these people or you're giving them your credit card and what lists they're giving you, because we don't sell ours and we don't call people on the phone to sell hotels. So if you're receiving those calls, they're definitely a scam. We have heard some horror stories of people who booked rooms through these people in the past couple of years, and they showed up and they had no rooms. So, we can't guarantee you any of that stuff. If you want to book through our website, through the links, or physically call these hotels and use, the TransWorld code that is on the website to be able to book them. That's the best thing I could tell you. We send out emails about this, letting people know about this scam, but it's nonstop. I exhibit at other trade shows.
We're getting it for them too.
And we're getting them from their shows. I mean, it's a common problem in the trade show industry. There's these poachers that basically go out and they try to contact any vendors that are listed on websites, and they try to pretend they pose as us. They call using our names.
They say they work for us.
Yeah, and they say they're booking rooms for us, and they try to, they book. They're very clever. They call and say that they're, calling about accommodations to make sure you got your rooms because they're running out. None of that stuff's true. We will never call you about hotel rooms. We just don't do that. So, if you are booking through anybody calling over the phone, just realize it is not through us. And, I can't guarantee your credit card information is safe with these people or you'll have a room.
Yeah. So we just wanted to really strongly enforce that and explain that because they're just getting more aggressive than they've ever been. So
No, that's a great reminder of that.
yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Of course, just a reminder as well, we are back in March. So March 7th through the 10th, same bat time in St. Louis, the Americas Center. HAAshow.com is where you can find out all of the information about hotels, about exhibiting, about attending, and everything that you're going to need. And if you have any questions for Jen and Rich, please shout them out in the chat, please.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having us on tonight. It was great. We just wanted to give a little bit of, tidbit of kind of what's going on in our world. So if you have any questions about exhibiting, or you have questions about sponsoring the show, or you have questions about, what package to choose for this year for attending the show, we're here.
Yeah, give us a call. We're happy to help. And we look forward to seeing everyone at Legendary this weekend. Those of you who
Dress
were
warm.
able to get
Yes.
dress warm during the days, 40s, 50s, and in the evening as low as 25. So
Bundle
those
up.
of us that are, from the East Coast, no big deal. But
Yeah.
well, the Northeast. But those of you from the Southeast or down south at all, it's going to be tough. So just make sure you dress warm.
And we're excited to see everyone.
Yeah.
Wait.
Shout out to Courtney McIntyre, who was like, is this really real? He sent me the weather today. I was like, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's looking good.
It's going to be good. Good layers, a lot of layers.
Layers are important.
We want to make sure it's nice, cool, crisp fall air for anybody.
Yeah, maybe somebody can bring those little hand warmer things and sell them or something.
Ooh. Love it.
Love you guys. Thank you for having us.
We love you guys.
Yes.
Good show.
We'll see you guys very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
3 days. Oh my gosh. Bye, guys.
Oh, I love it. People are starting to put their packing list on the side. It's like, yeah.
I know we have Legendary right around the corner, but now I am so excited. Let's do TransWorld. Let's go.
Yes. No, I mean, I think that this is like a really good, I don't know. To me, I'm viewing this as like the kickoff, like to do it all over again. Like we had that brief little time of Halloween. That's it. And now we're kicking it off. We're going back at it. We're back in the saddle, ready to go. I'm exhausted still, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, exactly. Time to keep the momentum going.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. No, and I'm getting super excited for Legendary. I'm getting super excited for TransWorld. People are already texting me. They're like, what hotel are you staying at? I'm like, for Legendary or for TransWorld? Which one?
Yeah, we got to be clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But Chris, there's so much more to tonight's episode.
There's tons more. So again, thanks to Jen and Rich and the entire TransWorld team for all of their hard work, and Anne-Marie, who couldn't be with us tonight. And we've got some really awesome stuff. So stick around. We have a short break from our wonderful premiere show sponsor.
Yes.
We love Hot Pay. Thank you so much. Of course, our official premiere show sponsor for TransWorld Live. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. That just got me all excited again. Like we were just talking about like that hitting that repeat button, but it's not. It's definitely like almost like a fast forward button that just gets us going and gets us ready. Oh my gosh. I love how many people are checking in with us. I feel like I haven't seen your names in forever, which means that October has cleared and that you all are back to hang out with us on Tuesday night.
Yes, so exciting. Oh, it's so great to have all of you back. This is wonderful. We missed you.
I know. It's been a journey, right? I feel like it's been a couple months, but it's only been October.
I know. Well, we have an awesome guest here. He is, we don't even need to give him an introduction. Everybody knows his name, and we're so excited that he is such an important part of our entire company and, of course, the Legendary Haunt Tour and our community as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming the legendary Ben Armstrong.
Chris, I was going to correct you if you didn't bring that right.
My goodness.
We try to switch it up. We don't get that opportunity, but a couple of times a year to hang out with you. And so we try to make it a little bit interesting, you know.
I'm always available. You can call me. You can call me anytime.
Well, now we know. Now we know.
I love this. Next week we're doing.
Yeah.
This is great. Brevity is the soul of wit, they say. So
Yeah. So how are you? How was your October? Did you survive?
Yes.
it's still going on. I mean,
Yeah.
we're still, I wouldn't talk about the fact we're still open this coming weekend with the Legendary coming, but since it's sold out, I can mention it. So I'm actually playing hooky for the first time since we moved to our new building. So they got it handled. So I'm sneaking away to go to Legendary, and it's
Perfect.
going to be.
That's
Love
excellent.
this.
Yeah,
Love
it
this.
was an interesting season. Very interesting. And I'll tell you, one of the cool things about Legendary is it's the first time you really get to see a bunch of haunters face to face, and go,
Yeah.
what happened? And I'm really interested to kind of hear about that, because in the beginning, I was hearing from a lot of people that things were not going great. I mean, I heard things were soft. A lot of people were saying that they were down in numbers. But it seemed to kind of turn around for a lot of people. It was a weird calendar. It was a late calendar, a little different.
Yeah.
Did a Friday the 13th, that was good. And I think a lot of people, it picked up, and a lot of people did great. I know there's a lot of haunts, particularly the Northeast, that really got slammed with weather. And it's horrible to hear that. I know a lot of people got rained out a lot of big haunts. So that's kind of tragic to hear when that stuff happens. It's really going to be interesting to find out what's going on. Was it a great season? I think it's going to be all over the map, but we'll see. We'll see.
But that's good to hear, though, because it means from an economic standpoint that it's not all over, right? Like that's the type of things that you kind of listen for, is like, if everybody's saying it was a bad season, you're like, ooh, this is going to be rough. It's going to be different. I can tell you our calendar.
It's tough for the vendors as well. It's tough for the
Yeah.
haunters. And we went through some crazy seasons a couple of years ago, as we know. So we've been on the upswing, but there's a few little interesting indicators. And although it's not scientific, look at the attendance at the Legendary Haunt Tour. I mean, of course, this particular tour, and we'll talk a lot about it here, has a certain draw. But sometimes it's when people have good seasons, they want to come to the tour. So it's interesting how that all works. But we're going to find out. And we're going to do a panel on Saturday night between our visits to Haunted Overload, where we're going to have everybody, having a big dinner, and we'll get some folks up on stage, and we're going to talk in depth about how the season went and kind of go through all the war stories and kind of see how it went. So it's going to be really intriguing. And that's one of the camaraderies I think people have always liked about it. I know there's a lot of vendors who like to go to Legendary, and it's their first time to kind of the year to kind of meet their clients and go, how was it? What are you looking for this year? Kind of, read the room. So it's going to be fun.
Very exciting. I agree with you. It's that opportunity where, we've talked about it on the show. All three of us have talked about it in the past, where at TransWorld or MHC, you're busy, you're working, you're buying, you're meeting people, but you're not able to sit there and talk as much as Legendary, and that camaraderie that you build up to be able to say, hey, how did you do this year? Learn from each other and build greater bonds over some food and beverage.
And also for me, it's what worked. What's the fresh new idea that you did that was amazing, that now I've got 11 months to try to figure out and pinpoint what's going to be perfect.
Right. All right. And that's honestly all of these events, TransWorld in particular, Midwest, the new one coming up, East Coast, they're all, yes, they're important. They're important to see haunt tours. They're important, obviously, what amazing stuff our vendors come up with, but it's the in-person camaraderie that you get, getting to meet people and talk to them and learn from them, and get a real reading. That's what these shows are all about. And we learned a couple of years ago during COVID, what do we miss the most? We missed all the other parts, but we really
Right.
miss seeing each other in person. And that's great to start the year here with Legendary for that. And boy, a
Yeah.
bunch of people are going to be there.
Yeah.
It is sold
Yes.
out, like legitimately sold out. I called Jen when the announcement came up and I'm like, so are we saying sold out or are we really sold out? And she's like, no. Every seat is sold out. I'm like, that's fantastic. So agreed. It could be a great indicator.
I think so. Also, so we did a similar tour to this with slight variations a number of years ago. And that was it was a great tour. Most of the tours are amazing, but something about that tour really stuck out. I remember Alan Hobbs coming up to me and saying, "Ben, I want you to know you've made my wife very happy." I'm like, "What does that mean?" But she loved the tour, and there's something about it too, because we all are in different parts of the country, but there's something about New England. It's
Yeah.
kind of has a vibe. It's like the birthplace of this, the whole feeling of it, the pumpkins, the tombstones, the headless horseman, all that stuff comes from that area. And of course, last time we got to see the amazing Spooky World. Who will ever forget having a dinner of lobster, at a haunt tour? Unfortunately, they couldn't participate this year because they're getting ready for Christmas. So many big haunts now are moving straight into Christmas.
Yeah.
But we have a new haunt this year, not new by any stretch, Barrett's, which has been around a very long time. I've never got to see Barrett's. I've heard a lot of great things. I'm very intrigued to see it. But all of the haunts on this tour, they have that, they have a lot of history. And also just going to Salem and being in New England, that little added portion. And that's something else I think Legendary always brings is we have a moment to be in the town. What are the interesting things about the location, where we're having the tour. And it has that flair. And getting to go to Salem, I mean, it's got that feeling. It's got that amazing Halloween feeling year round. And what a way to start a tour like this in New England. It's
As Sean says, it's a lot of hocus pocus going on.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But
So now,
it's going to be good.
So Ben, tell us a little bit about the history of Legendary. How did this entire, I guess, kind of concept start?
Boy, you're asking me to go back into the mists of time. So to digress, before I answer your question. So Netherworld has very complex and deep themes. Very elaborate storyline, and there's a lot of people who are really into it. They're like, so in year 4, when this guy did, and they'll come to me and they'll start asking me these questions. And it's so funny because it's so long ago. We've been doing Netherworld for 27 years. So literally people will come up to me and ask me about history. And I'll go like, so, in 2018, when this thing happened, and well, so what did that mean? I'll be like, what? Well, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast.
Right.
But I'm going to try. So the history of the Legendary Haunter. So the way it worked out, I've been working with TransWorld for a long time, coming up with seminars and working with Jen on those. And she's like, I want to start something new, some kind of a haunt tour. And I was like, we need to do one immediately after the season because there's a ton of huge events that they tear everything down. Yes, we go to haunt tours during, the middle of the year. Sometimes we have them at TransWorld, sometimes we have them at Midwest, but it can be very difficult for the haunt owners to give these tours because they might be just beginning their build, or they might be in a massive teardown, or they could have a huge outdoor presence that they put up. So there's a lot of haunts you can never actually see except at Legendary or during their actual seasons. Right. A good example was Spooky World when we went. The Spooky World is a huge, huge outdoor event. And, events like that, they have to tear down. Big things like hay rides and stuff, they have to tear down. And something like Haunted Overload, you could never see. You could never see it, in the off season. I mean, they carve hundreds of real pumpkins, hundreds, thousands, millions. I don't even know. park in New England, and they're real ones. They're not foam
No.
ones. They do it for real. And but you have to go right there after season. You know, the whole show, the machine is working, the actors are there, all the stuff is built, it's all set up the way it's meant to be. We're not trying to do this, and you know, it's always stressful to open your haunt for any kind of a tour, but Legendary, it just works better with these big events. And I don't want to get into any details, but you know, we have some upcoming legendaries that definitely play into that. We're going to go places it's impossible to see, absolutely impossible during the year. You couldn't do a Midwest tour at these places, for example, because of the nature of them. So that was the idea behind Legendary, to go directly after the season so that we could go to these places and see them in their actual form in Halloween trim. So the first one we went to was one that had never really been toured, which was all the Kansas City haunts at that time. That were, and talk about legendary. That was the idea too, because these were haunts that you heard tales of. Every haunted house in the country, you know, you've all heard the story. Oh, it's a 13-story haunted house and all these kind of things like this. Literally came from the haunts in Kansas City being around. I don't know what they're celebrating, like 50 years or something. It's crazy how long they've been around. But you know, the multi-floors, all the different things that happen. So that's another aspect of what Legendary was meant to be, to go to places that are either, you know, have this incredible history and backstory to them, or there's something incredibly powerful, new, and cutting edge. Some combination of these things. So that was sort of the idea for it. So yeah, we did the tour and people loved it, and you know, it was just a great way to kick off the year. And we immediately discovered there was that camaraderie. I mean, a lot of owners would go, a lot of folks, you know, a lot of vendors would go. So it was literally like, how was your season? What's happening? What's the new product? What's the next idea? You know, and we're going to some cool place and we're seeing it and we're like, this is amazing. So it just became a tour a little bit unlike other ones in that it sort of stands on its own. And then we've tried different formats. Some years we've done, you know, seminars with them, stuff like that. It varies how they've been. Some years they've been just a few haunts. Some years we often end up banding on Thursday tours and things like that. So it always kind of shifts and changes, but it's usually built on at least 2 to 3 substantial attractions within a proximity. So that's kind of the history of it. It was sort of a need for that kind of taste of Legendary. To tell you a little bit about some interesting things about this tour coming up, when we talk about Legendary, we have 3 attractions. Now, Barrett's, like I said, personally, I don't know a whole lot about it, although anytime we were talking about, well, you know, Spooky World couldn't be on the tour, I'm like, Barrett's, you got to go to Barrett's. Great one. I actually had I was talking to people the other night because people come to Netherworld from all over. I had a lot of haunters and haunt fans that were there last weekend, and they were telling me, and someone had gone to Barrett's and they were like, oh, I'd heard about Barrett's, you know. So it's definitely got a name, it's got a tradition, it's been around a long time, so it definitely fits in there. Fright Kingdom, now that's a phenomenal show. Tim Dunn, great guy, done a lot for the industry. But one interesting thing, I've known Tim Dunn for a very long time, and one of the things that Tim Dunn has is he is like me, he's a collector. He collects a lot of crazy old stuff, and he has collected so many amazing old props from haunted houses that are no longer with us all over the New England area. You will go in there and you'll see props that are probably,
oh my gosh,
5 years old from vendors that haven't been around for 17 years. He's got them in his haunted house, and it's like, in many ways, I mean, it's a great haunted house. It's got 5 attractions. He's got a lot of stuff going on there. But one of the things I grew to is the fact there's so much history in there. It's things that have come from all these different places. And we have similar things. You know, I've managed to collect, you know, from friends and just luckily from a lot of attractions. So I can go, well, this is from that one, and this is from that one, and this is from that one. So there's a lot of history in Netherworld. But Fright Kingdom has that same kind of a vibe going on, which is, you know, a deep, abiding history. And if you ask him about it, oh, he'll rant. He'll tell you all about all the stuff and where it came from, how long he's had it, and what place he got it from, and who had it before that, and all these things back. So it's definitely got a lot of that going on in it too. But one of the ones though that I think that has really fired off people's imagination for years, really since they began, is Haunted Overload. And it's just, I remember, I don't know how long ago it started, but the images coming out of that place, people would be like, is this real? Is it really is it that massive? Is it that huge? And so, gosh, a long time ago, whenever that last tour was, my family and I, we did a summer tour, and we went and we visited in advance all the places that we were going to go to legendary. And we got to go to Haunted Overload, with family, and we got to, walk the grounds in the daytime. And it was just like, it's all real. It's all real. At the time, I think he'd only been there a couple of years because he was originally a home haunter, and he set up these amazing things at his home. He might have even had him at another location. We'll have to ask him when we do we're discussing at the bonfire the history of it. But it was so spectacular to see during the day. Of course, at night, it's an entire other monster. But guess what? As I'm sure all you people know on this tour, you're going to get to see it in the day. You're going to get a Haunted Overload twice. Once in the day, full daylight. You can take all the pictures you want. You're going to get to see the reality of what it is. Its epic scale, it's the rustic nature of it, how it's built from all these natural materials. And then at night, when it comes alive, and I think the feeling I had when I left Haunted Overload was pretty much that Haunted Overload, I mean, you can say, okay, well, this is my favorite haunted house, and I like this Haunted Overload is basically, it is Halloween. Halloween. I mean, it's Halloween through and through. It's everything about Halloween that you would see. I mean, modern haunted attractions, I like to say, to me, I judge them, I call it the razor's edge. Like, you need to ride the edge between Halloween and horror, right? And so a lot of haunted houses maybe go a little bit more towards horror. They're more gruesome and bloody and all this kind of stuff. Not that that's not a Haunted Overload, but I mean, the feeling of Halloween in New England at Haunted Overload, it's just overwhelming. So, what a tour to get the vibe of Salem, to go to a haunted house like Barrett's that people just have been talking about for so long, and I'm so eager to see it. The imagery of that weird red head that they have that they enter into.
Yeah.
I've been seeing that floating around for 20. I don't know. What is this, Barrett's? I'm intrigued. wait, a bunny, and I wander off. So squirrely things stick in your mind about what is it. So and of course, Fright Kingdom and Haunted Overload. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great trip. I'm excited.
Of all of your tours that you have been a part of, and you've been here since day one, what are some of your favorite memories? I know we can't ask you to pick a favorite experience, but do you have some ones that stand out that you might be able to share that people are going to start looking forward to making their own memories this upcoming weekend?
Well, it's funny, the different things that happen on these trips. Because anytime you have an adventure, adventures occur. And, I just think of some of the crazy things that have gone on during these trips, and there's so many. I mean, one of the ones I'll tell you that it's, once again, I'm talking about Haunted Overload, but so we went to Haunted Overload, and I was on the bus, but I ended up riding with some people, and due to various adventures, we were almost late. So we got there, they're like, you better get in. We're about to send the actors away. So we went through, and it was amazing, and the actors were phenomenal. I mean, I remember like walking along, and there's a werewolf just howling in the woods. He's not he's just over there howling, being a werewolf, and you're like, this is weirdly atmospheric, But anyway, we completed it. We came out. They had a bonfire going, and I was like, hey, can I just walk through again? I know everyone's left, but can I just walk through? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. So I just walked the trail, and there were no actors, and a handful of haunters also came along, and we walked the trail. And this is after it had closed, but the lighting was still there. So you're in this beautiful creepy, serene environment, like a haunted attraction, but it's just vast and it's in a forest and the fog's rolling and there's just natural sounds and there's the soundtrack is there, but it's not overwhelming, you know, it's just part of the nature of it. And just walking through that, it was just like, I remember, I'm trying to think who was there. I remember John LaFlambeau was there and we were just like, dude, this is crazy. It's just like, it's like a fever dream, just walking through it. No actors, no body, just a handful of haunters just walking along, just like
just gawking. Yeah, jaws dropped.
And you have those kind of moments, you know, that are just astounding. I have some fun moments. We had one of the early legendary haunt tours. We went to the House of Shock and then went to the 13th Gate, you know, and of course, the House of Shock is now it's closed and it's now owned by 13th Floor Entertainment, and they do a great job. It's a different show, you know. The House of Shock was something else, you know. It was you know, they had a very intense kind of I guess satanic vibe, you know. They were rock and rollers. They did a rock and roll kind of show, but what was amazing was they had already they did a huge pyro show there at the House of Shock, and they had these gigantic flame towers. One of the guys who was one of the key folks at the attraction was tours with these giant pyro units. That's his job. Well, he had to take the units off, you know, to do something else. He brought them back, but they just set them like, normally they're up on top of they just set them like kind of on the ground. Okay, so they're doing their pyro show, boom, and it's like, I'm talking singe dive here. I mean, it was what? It was so much heat and so much craziness, and it was like so impactful. And it was like, wow, that is great. That is great. And then you see their screen is like, they have a giant projection screen that's starting to sag. Because I think they melted it because they wanted to do a freaking show, you know. And
oh my God,
they did a freaking show. And yeah, but I mean, there's things like that. It's always fun for legendary because, you know, when anytime there's a haunt tour, people tend to kind of, you know, pull out all the stops and they try to do. Of course, we're always trying to do the best show every single night, you know. But when you know all your peers are coming, that's the end of everything. It's like, okay, I'm gonna scream till I have no voice because it's the legendary haunt tour. So that's a few. That's a few of them.
Those are great.
I love
ones.
it. Those are great. So now, okay, what are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Well, it's interesting. So I'm going with my wife, and we're going to see this tour. And I have not left Netherworld when it was open since we moved to our new location, because it was like, you know, I've not been to Legendary Haunt Tour in a while, except when it was at Netherworld.
Well, we weren't going to call you out. I mean, we were going to let you share.
But I was like, I've moved. I have responsibilities here.
I get it.
It's a business.
I get it.
I've missed some great tours, and I missed some things I really wanted to see, and I felt bad about it. You know, I really wanted to see the Salt Lake City haunts, and I wanted to see, you know, all the stuff. I mean, there's been a lot of tours I really wanted to see, but but I'm like, they got it. You know, I've got a really good team, a really great team of people working at Netherworld, and I've been working really hard. I'm not useless yet. I hope not. The wheelchair will roll me down the street. But I mean, I think on the two final nights of the season, I think they got it. I feel good. And Billy, my business partner's there. The whole team's there, and they're all grimacing at me like, "You bum! You're leaving us, and you're going to play." I'm like, "Yes, that's right. We are." It's going to be kind of like playing hooky to take off from while we're open and to go off and go on this tour.
Are you going to be sending selfies like, wish you were here?
No, I get enough. I don't need to do that to get in trouble. So I probably, I'm sure we'll take a lot of pictures, but I'm not going to show it to them while they're sitting there going like, oh, look at this queue line. There's like 7 people and a dog in it. You know, what are you doing? I'll say that to the actors. I'm trying to get them pumped up, and it's one of these. It's like a Monday, and I'm like, "Yeah, there's 3 guys out there, and they're really excited." And they're like, "What?" Okay, there's really 13 people. But no, but it's gonna be kind of fun to play hooky, and I'm excited to talk to people and to find out how the season went, and get a jump start on how things are going. And it's kind of also it's very energizing. I mean, you both worked at Haunts, and even working at phenomenal Haunts, you stare at the same place, every single day, all year long, every minute, and you're like, you go somewhere new, and you're like, oh, now this is different. This is cool, and it's like it's a fresh kind of feeling, to kind of look at something and also to get inspired. I mean, you come out of a season going like, oh man, I wish I had a better water jug or whatever, whatever the problem. You go like, wow, you got Yeti coolers at 100 Overload. Wow, that's the way to go. Ideas, and
you get on the bus and you're on Amazon. You're like, we need 3 of those.
Well, you have questions. You're like, wow, what were my pain points this year? Oh, I had this, and this, and you're like, and you go to another big attraction, like they got that one figured out. But you know what? Let me tell them about this other idea I had. So, hey, I've got an idea. I'm gonna share with you guys.
Ooh.
Okay.
And just you guys, no one else is listening. This is
We're good.
This is something new that we came up with this year. Okay, so you know how you occasionally, just once or twice a season, you have an unruly customer. You familiar with that concept?
Once or twice.
Well, I've heard about them.
Twice a minute? No, I know.
Yeah.
So but they haven't done anything really terrible yet, so they can't. You're not gonna kick them out or anything. So you follow them, like, we're gonna follow that guy. I'm like, this is dumb. You're following him. He does something bad. It's already happened. So this year we came up with the red flashlight. So get this. So you got someone who's had a bit too many beverages, whatever. They've had trouble in the queue line. You're like, okay. So we call for the red flashlight, and the red flashlight, we pop a little flashlight with a red light, and we go in front of them to kind of warn the actors, like someone is coming. So we're trying to prevent a problem, not like, aha, they did something bad. Now we know. It's like literally we're trying to prevent it. So it's called the red flashlight. You're here first, folks, and it's way cheaper.
I just looked around, Ben, just like you just gave me, and I wrote it down because I'm going to implement it. I'm literally going to text our security people because that's genius.
Go in front of them with the red flashlight.
Yes.
And the actors know, they're like, okay, something's up, so maybe I'm not gonna, stick my nose all the way out, or whatever. But I'm on guard. I'm on guard here. So
Like it.
Look at
this.
Look at that little sprinkle of nugget, like that nugget.
This is awesome.
My entire seminar at TransWorld, so
Yeah.
I heard we have to do those again, and it's like Jim was mentioning. I'm like, what?
Hey, we were excellent last year. We were fantastic.
We're still open, so. Back to what you were saying. That's what's exciting. It's exciting to when you have those. You want the inspiration for the new season, and you also have the pain points. You want to find ways to get past, and then you go to these big attractions right off the season, and you're like, yes, the red flashlight, bingo.
So as you're talking, Ben, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm like writing my list of all the things I have to do. I'm going to just even say it. My journey is starting early on Thursday. I'm coming in early on Thursday. I want to stop and see my sister who's in Massachusetts, do a couple other things, make sure like I'm ready for all the people to come in. And I just wrote down that I need to get my new notebook for this year. I always keep like a notebook with me of different ideas and things like that. I have one specifically that was at TransWorld 2023 and, MHC and different other things. Anytime I'm going to be around other haunters, I want to be able to write it down.
Yeah.
Of course, 95% of the time it's me texting myself and then getting back to the hotel room and putting it there. And I was like, ooh, I need a specific notebook. And the first note needs to be red flashlight.
That's it.
It's already started.
Well, I'll tell you. Let me tell you a problem I have with the red flashlight. Just because we need to move on to more pressing topics, I'm sure. But so in its truth, the purpose of the red flashlight was to go in front of problem customers. But I didn't want to put that negative projection onto our customers. So I said, or it might be a really scared patron. Okay. So I didn't want people to assume ill intent, as to what's coming from the red flashlight, right? I just wanted them to know that it needs to be aware that something different is happening. So then we started getting all these calls to the red flashlight, and it was all scared kids because I said that. I'm like, that's the outward facing red flashlight. In reality, it's for the troubled people. But so you got to be careful, because I didn't want people thinking, oh, the person behind this flashlight is a bad person, because it might legit be maybe someone who is really scared and is having a challenge. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that's
the red flashlight. Use caution.
Fixed. Yeah, you do.
Use caution.
When you're explaining it, you got to be careful how you explain it. When I said that, it was like, we need about 47 flashlights. I got
They just keep cycling.
Do the show in front of every person. That makes no sense. But anyway,
I like it.
Yes.
Ben, if somebody is watching this and they missed their opportunity to join us on this year's Legendary, what advice could you give them to start their planning for next year?
Well, this has been pretty spectacular in how this is going. I mean, generally, well, there's always a limit, right? Because we have to order buses, we have to order food, we have to tell the haunts how many people to expect. So there's definitely, a lot of haunters, they play this game where they're like, okay, I'm in season, I'm gonna have a good season, am I gonna have time to go? Did I make some cash? I'm gonna can I afford this trip? But so they decide very late. But you definitely need to decide sooner than later, because these things can sell out, as we've learned. Definitely, if it's a place you want to go do that. And sometimes there's these haunts. This is something else that I have seen, and to a degree, it holds true through any hauntour. Like I said, people really try with Legendary and with many haunttours to put their best foot forward, right? You will often see the show of shows. So even from amazing haunts that are great every day of the week, they're sometimes greater during a Legendary haunt. It's like, wow, there's an actor literally in every square foot of this haunted house. Where did they all come from? Wow, you're a bunch of traveling actors from another haunt, but you're here today entertaining me, so I love this. So you're definitely going to get a special show, because people really want to, they can grab their friends. Hey, buddy, you're closed. Can you bring your guys over here? So, I mean, they're going to ramp it up for you.
Yeah.
Another thing that's like a key component usually are things like the after parties and Q&A sessions and the fellowship. So it has a whole other value that's difficult to peg. It's not just another haunt. Like, oh, I went to that haunted house before, I don't need to go. It's a whole other thing. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I would plan early, because you do have to plan, because you got travel to work out. You got to figure things out. This is a very busy time of year for anyone involved with haunts. People are always like, oh, it's all over. What are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know, work for 3 months. Because I don't know about you, I got to sit on my QuickBooks with my box full of papers that is about 4 feet tall and figure out what the heck happened, So simultaneously, you're like, what happened with last year? I got to pay all my bills. I got to plan next year, and I got to start building next year, and it's all got to happen. So I think it was like 2 days before TransWorld was actually time off, sometime in February maybe. So if you want to go to it, you got to plan it, and you got to make sure that those things are covered, because the minute your haunt's closed, you're like, oh, I got to send the light towers back, and someone's picking up the barricades, and I got to get the portal in, and we got to winterize the food truck. It's like the list is 10,000 miles long of the stuff you got to do. So,
Ben, do you have normal people in your life that are like, Halloween's over? There's nothing. What do you do now? And it's like, what do you mean?
About 28 years ago, I had like regular friends, I think. And then when you get into something like the haunted attraction industry, it's like everyone you suck into it, or you lose.
Yes.
This kind of happened, but it
That's
changed
true.
a little bit for my wife and I because a couple of years ago we were like, we need to do something other than monsters. Not that you could tell by our house, but we got into tiki. So we love tiki
Yeah.
bars and tiki stuff. So we made our basement into like a giant tiki bar, but of course it's a spooky tiki bar. So now we do have friends who are in the world of tiki. We don't do haunted houses. So I have a couple, maybe a handful of friends that are not in the haunted industry. So those are, but most people in the haunted industry, they know. Some of the relatives are like that. They're like, "Are you going to change anything this year?" And you're like, "Yeah."
Always got to change stuff. Always.
They're like, "Can't you just leave it? It's done, right?" I'm like,
It's art. It's
never
art.
done.
It's never
ever
done.
evolving. It's a living thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's got to,
Takes its
get
own
bigger,
life.
better, faster, stronger, more expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben, I know that we are so fortunate to have you for the amount of time that we have. I know we get you all weekend. Super excited for that. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to say to everybody watching as we get ready to start packing for some colder temperatures?
Yeah, I mean that is a thing. Do you either of you remember the Frozen Tundra tour? Okay,
Ooh.
so this was a tour that was it was years ago. It was a tour from TransWorld.
Okay.
I believe that the Gavinskis planned it along with Tattoo, and we went to Terror and the Fox, and we went and saw we went to a bunch of places, and we went to the railroad museum and everything, but it was cold. It was really cold. And I remember talking to Tattoo. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna die out there. It's gonna be so cold. He's like, we got you. So we got to Terror and the Fox. They had those salamanders, those little heat things. They were blasting it inside of that haunted house. But when we were outside that queue line, it was like they leaned into it. They called it the Frozen Tundra tour.
Yeah,
I love
like
that.
Yeah.
snowflakes. You still see the shirts every so often. But it was a really very well done tour. And but temperature, like I'm from the South. I'm originally from Florida, and I unfortunately don't have as many layers as some folks do. So, I mean, you know, if it's like 60, I'm like,
Okay.
so I'm freezing. But so yeah, I'm gonna layer up.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get ready for it. I'm probably gonna feel like a thing over my head, my eyes will be peeking out, So
I'm just gonna warn you all right now. If you know me in my haunt world here, you already know this about me. But if you know me from TransWorld, like, I'm freezing all the time, and I live in the frozen tundra, and I actually own a wearable sleeping bag. And for much of this week, it's actually true. It's like a whole thing. And I wear it more often than I should, including like starting in August. But the funny thing is multiple people are like, "You're gonna bring the sleeping bag, right?" I'm like, "No, I can't show that to people." I saw the temperatures today, and I was like, "Well, I might be breaking that out. It's gonna be an attraction all in of itself."
I think it's gonna be manageable. I mean,
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not
the
super
30s
freezing.
sound terrifying to me, but to people
They're-
half the country, they're like, that's my t-shirt weather. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
most of you won't care. But if you're like
Yeah.
me, you need to bring layers. For sure.
Layers are good advice.
Yes.
It'd be good. And plus, we're all going to be moving. Our blood's going to
Yeah.
be pumping. We're going to be
Oh,
talking
yeah.
to people, eating really good food, hanging out. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful.
Gosh, I remember years ago, it was off season. I went and visited my buddies at Niles, and
Yeah.
I went there, and it was, I think I went to Erebus and Niles, and we just, stopping by to say hello. And there was snow everywhere. And we got off the plane. We're like, look, it's snow. It looks like. I mean, I had Max with me, and he was younger. Max is my son, if you don't know. And it was like, look, it's snow, because it was the dirty, horrific snow at an airport. It was this horrible mass. But yeah, we were walking through, and I bought special socks and everything. I was ready, but even then, I wasn't ready. And I was really enjoyed it. Niles is an extremely creative attraction. The best gags ever anywhere. The wackiest stuff made with like paper clips and rubber bands and God knows what. But it'll scare the heck out of you. But we were going through that, and I was like soaking it up. But I was like, I literally can't feel nothing below my knees. I am, this is something. I'm not made for this, but I'm gonna try. So
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
We cannot wait. Thank you. Of course, everybody, we're going to have all of your information when you get there and you check in. But if you want to refresh your memory on what's going to happen, kind of the schedule and timeline, legendaryhaunttour.com. You can check everything out there. And of course, big thanks to our sponsors, Granite Insurance and Fear Ticket. And Robert just so wonderfully put those links into the chat. So please patronize them. Thank you so, so much.
Take your insurance for granted.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, guess what? It's less than a couple of days away. We can officially say it. See you in just a few days. All of us are going to be together at the Legendary Haunt Tour in Salem, one of the most spookiest, magical places in the world for our type of people.
Wait.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited.
Miami sounds good.
And next up on the Tiki Tour, no, I'm just kidding.
Legendary Tiki Tour.
Yes. Ben, we're going to be waiting for that, okay?
Can't wait.
Chris and I want to be invited.
Well, when we came to Netherworld, we had 2 tiki bars that we set up, for everybody. And, we bought the beers and the coolers. But I'm like, no, I'm doing tiki drinks.
Tiki.
So,
I love it.
at the end of it, we had so much beer because everyone was getting hammered on tiki drinks and stuff.
Oh my gosh. Then this seems like the only appropriate question to ask you to close out this episode is, what is your favorite tiki drink?
Oh
my gosh. So, of course, the one everyone knows the most is the Mai Tai.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But a particular one that I've been enjoying a lot lately. So there's a cocktail called the Jungle Bird, which you make with Campari. But Campari to me is a little strong. So I replaced the Campari with Aperol. We call it the Jungle Bat. So it's a tasty drink. It's not as sweet, but I like it. It's a good drink.
I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
My wife makes these little bat ice cubes, and she uses dye, to make them in the ice tray. And when I'm trying to pick them up and put them in the drinks, my fingers are all black. It's like, what's going on here? This is crazy. I should use tongs. I'm a terrible
I love it.
I like it.
We'll have to find a place when we get there. Of course, safe travels to all of you. And thanks for joining us. And we'll see you in a few days.
All right. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,